So I had to make applications to different places. I applied to so many banks, I got accepted into one. And then I was thrown to the middle of Ukambani. I used to work there in Titwande. So the dream of doing photography had now to be pushed a bit to the back, because now it had to be about, I need to put money, I need to put food on the table. I'm getting to a point where I'm getting a bit older and I can't just sit in the house and wait for photography jobs to come. I need to be doing something. So that's how I got into banking. So in the very first year, I was telling myself, this thing I'm just doing for 1 year, and then I go back into photography. And I was actually almost about to quit by the time I got to the end of my first year, but then I still stayed on. I didn't feel comfortable to leave employment. That was in 2012. So in 2012, so I still stayed on 2013, 2014. So in 2013 is when, just in the course of my work, I met this beautiful young girl who had come to be our customer for the day, and she ended up being my wife later. So I'm glad that I was in banking at that particular time. So in 2015, end of 2014, I got a transfer back to Nairobi. So the very first opportunity that came was to go back to Nairobi, and I took it very quickly because I was still planning to get married. So I was just about to get married, and I didn't want to start my family outside of Nairobi. So immediately I got the chance to get out, I quickly. So beginning of 2015 is when I came back to Nairobi, got married, and then now I started thinking of, in Nairobi, the rent is a bit higher, and I need to think of what do I do. So I started thinking of maybe I should go back to uh, doing photography as a side hustle, or start a side hustle for photography. So at that particular time, I started calling the company Askofu Photography. So Askofu was my name in campus. When I was in Campo, I used to rap. So I used to do gospel rap, and I've done a number of songs. So I used to call Askofu Photography because Askofu is my nickname, it's my name. So that's how Askofu Photography started. So I stayed with the business for a while until about 9 months or 10 months in, and the question I'd get from every single client I'd go to, because that time I was doing birthdays, I was doing just small events. I wasn't doing weddings yet. I hadn't gotten a wedding yet under my name because I wasn't confident that I would be able to handle one. So I would actually be getting that question, and people would be asking, why are you calling your company Askofu Photography? So it got to be a question over and over again, until I realized that it wasn't the right name for the company. So I looked at it and was like, why not just call it Mumo Photography? Because it's Mumo who's doing this work. And just looking back at how I settled on Mumo Photography, when I got to the office in Ukambani, in Titoandei, the very first day, what happened is I found in the office there were two other guys whose name was James. So my first name is James. So I found people in the office already, two people already James. So this branch was going to have three people with the name James. So the very first moment I got in, I was informed there are two other James in this office. So what do we refer to you as? And I thought to myself, I have two other names, so Mumo is the name. So everyone in banking, everyone, even in the bank, whenever I'd introduce myself, even today when I introduce myself, I always introduce myself as my name is Mumo. And even on this channel, and even here, you can be able to see that's the name of the channel. So just going back, so I call myself Mumo Photography. So my name is Mumo and I'm doing photography because that's what I wanted to get into. And that's how it started. So I opened a Facebook page, I opened an Instagram page as well, but couldn't get Mumo Photography because there is another Mumo Photography, I think in Asia, and I call myself Mumo Photography KE. So that's how it got started. And then I took the photos that we had done that wedding in 2011, 5 years back, and I used that as a cover page. I shared a few in the posts, and then I put that up. And then just about a month into that page, I'm not even sure how many likes that page had, I got an inquiry from a client, and they asked, do you do wedding photography? And I told her, yeah, by the way, we do wedding photography. And I was so excited because I had never done any marketing for the business. I hadn't done anything to try and get customers into the business. I was just, let me have my presence online, let me just have it online. So she got in touch with me. She was like, yes, I'm getting married in December. What are your rates? And I read that message and I asked myself, how do I even explain and how do I get this client? So I stayed there for quite a while just looking at that message, wondering, what do I tell this client? What do I tell them that will make them work with us? So I told her, you know what, it's 60,000. Just a number big enough to look good for me, that I'm not very cheap, but a number just affordable enough that, you know, even if she had said, no, I don't want 50,000, I want 50,000, I would have gone to 50,000 because I wanted to get that first client. I didn't know how to get clients in the first place, but that's how it started. So she was okay with the price and she was like, when can we meet so that we talk a bit more? And we met at a restaurant called Olive, just opposite Archives, if you know the CBD. That's where we met. So I got there just a few minutes earlier than her. So I got from the office and then came for that meeting. So as I was preparing for that particular meeting, I went online, I searched for wedding contracts sample. Online, I found a number of them that looked good, and then I downloaded that, changed a number of things from US to Kenya, laws of Kenya, just looked at a few things, just working to look as professional as possible for that particular client to see whether this is a serious company. So she came in. Then I actually went to Clipart in Microsoft Word. I went to Clipart and there's a photo of a guy who's like holding a camera. That was our logo, and Mumo Photography, and client signs here, photographer signs here, and it was really interesting. So I got to that particular meeting. I talked to her. You know, how did you guys meet? Just trying to get to know this client a bit better, because the next time we're actually going to meet with her was during her wedding. So I needed to know more about her and exactly what she's looking for, when will the wedding be, where will it be. So it was going to be in Machakos. So we ironed all that out, and then she told me, then she asked about payments, and I told her it's 50%. In my heart, I'm like, I hope she's okay with that. But confidently just said 50%, and she was okay. And she had 30,000 that she had carried in cash. So quickly I took it, put it in the envelope that I was carrying with one copy of the contract, and then went. So ran to the banking hall, deposited that money in my account, and then went back to the office. So when it got to that particular day, we actually did that wedding itself. And then from that, when we're coming to do that wedding, I needed a car. So I went to my parents and I was like, I have an event, I have a wedding that I'm doing in Machakos, I need a vehicle. So we had a white wish, and that's what we used. So I hired it from them. I think I paid 4,000 shillings to hire it, because I didn't want as well to be doing business with their vehicle, but I'm not paying them back. So I paid for it, and then we went and did the event itself. From that wedding, I made a profit of 1,000 bob. And looking back, it wasn't a lot of money to make from an event, but it got me hooked. And I thought to myself, I need to keep on doing this. So once we did that wedding, I came back to my Facebook page. I did a number of photos there, new photos for this event that we've done. I changed my profile picture, I changed the cover image, put this new bride that we had actually done. That's how the page got started. That's how we got started.